Hello there, you're welcome to Vanguard Live, today's edition of What's in the News. And I'm Victor Ogunyika. We have our dailies and we are going to be looking at what is happening in Nigeria today, politics, business, economy, and of course, every other thing that's around the news. Okay, and with me today in the studio is a journalist, the publisher of Ilukbeju and GRO Ikeja Today. That's a community newspaper and is also the president community media practitioners in Nigeria. Dayo Akintobi, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, lots of screaming headlines we have here in the newspaper today. We have the former president is in the news. Anytime he's in the news, it's not business as usual.
Never.
Yeah, and of course, the NAS, there's a follow up on the guideline that was released 2 days ago on the kind of journalism they want in the National Assembly. And I think it looks like it's not going the way of the National Assembly on this. And also, we have the columnist from Vanguard, Femi Aribisala, talking about Yoruba and presidency in the next 20 years. But I don't want to preempt everything. Let's just go into the newspapers and see what we have. On the Vanguard, we have Fulanization agenda. That's a new word that should be added to the dictionary.
Yes, it is.
Obasanjo seeks to divide Nigeria in his old age. That is the federal government accusing the former president. And then on that one, we have in the right there, he says his comments are divisive, depressing, and also on the right there, we have Khan, Onoyekon, Martins, Adebanjo, Ikpemwe, Inyam, others back the former president. You heard that statement of the former president talking about Fulanization agenda in Nigeria.
Yes.
What came to your mind when you saw that news?
Well, I believe that he's truly concerned about Nigeria, really. And I think the security implications of bandits and terrorism and herdsmen is weighing heavily on his mind. And I think he has made it his life's mission, his retirement mission, to speak out against all things he perceives as ills. So I think he means well. But because Baba has never really been diplomatic in his utterances, he might have couched his words a little better and a little more diplomatically.
Okay, you know, this statement is what we major on today on our discussion point after the review. So I would really keep your thoughts on that because a lot of questions coming on what is not to say, considering a nation as fragile as Nigeria in terms of unity and what it so that it doesn't look like what it is right now. Then on the newspaper today, also on Vanguard, we have NAT drops stringent accreditation measures for journalists. Yeah, you can find that on page 4. It looks like the journalists will be missing out on some things on the National Assembly, but it looks like that is on hold. We are going to connect with our man at the National Assembly, Henry Umoru. We called him yesterday and he gave us a download of what exactly that guideline was about and the fights from all around. We are going to connect with him very shortly.
Okay.
Also, but then again, on the front page of the Vanguard, we have bandits kill 34 in 3 Katsina LGAs. That's on page 7. Katsina is the
Home state of the president. If that can happen in his home state, which one of us is safe?
But then again, it is turning to banditry, kidnapping, it's turning to a national affair, right now, beyond the presidency, beyond the state of the president. But it looks like an urgent need, urgent attention has to be given to ensure that this doesn't become another malady loading up. Then again, we have Otedola visits Chairman Christian Chukwu in London on page 45. I think Otedola is really taking this very personal and it's very commendable.
Yes, indeed. He gave money. He did what the government should have done, what the Sports Commission should have done, taken up the matter and attended to this national hero and seen to his succor. But when the government seemed to not be interested in doing anything, he stepped in, gave the money, made sure that he was flown abroad for treatment, and he's now followed up with a personal visit. That's quite commendable.
Yeah, I think the NFF chairman also went when he was still at Enugu before he traveled out. They visited him, but the federal government. Well, should we say the NFF is the federal government now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so one way or the other, they've actually shown, but then it is becoming very worrisome for us to have legends suffering this fate. Christian Chukwu might be the one in the news now, but we've had them over and over again, you know. And then I don't know what can be done to ensure that we celebrate our people while they are alive, so that we don't start picking up what stadium to name after them after they are gone. Okay, and then that is on page 45 of the Vanguard. Otedola visits Chairman Christian Chukwu in London. Okay, then Femi Arabisala, no Yoruba president in Nigeria for another 20 years.
Well, what I read into that basically is that he's saying he can't readily see anybody on the horizon from the Yoruba nation that is competent or capable to lead this country in the next 20 years. I think that is an indictment of our tribe.
Do you agree with him?
No, I don't.
20 years is a lot of time.
It's a very long time.
It means that.
And there are some bright lights, some very shining lights among Yoruba people today, but very capable of leading this country.
Okay, but then talking about Yoruba presidency and Nigeria as a whole, I think it is even worrisome when we first look at who should get what in a period of time. How about thinking about who is best fit?
Yes.
Regardless of where the person is coming from.
Yes, but that goes to show you the complexity of the structure of Nigeria to begin with, in that there are ethnic considerations, and that's why there's this issue of zoning, and the presidency should rotate from the north to the south, because you have to satisfy all interests. You have to balance the polity in a way where it does not seem like one group is favored over another, or another one is marginalized in favor of another one. But at the end of the day, we need to operate a meritocracy. We need to be based on competence and capability. Where a person comes from shouldn't matter. We're all Nigerians.
Yeah, and I think this mirrors on the major headline on the Vanguard today talking about, and I think that is what is in major newspapers today, the Obasanjo statement talking about Fulanization, talking about who should get what in 2023. 2019 has barely started, and we are talking about 20 years, 2023. Isn't that selfish?
Well, a politician's first duty is to get himself re-elected. So as we already begin this new administration on May 29th, the paramount consideration of every politician worth his salt is what's going to be his fate in 2023. Okay. He starts working on 2023 from May 29th.
From May
2019.
Yeah, and that is, I don't know how that sounds, but it doesn't look really good for us. But then I would like us to speak with Umaru. Let's just hear from Umaru what he has for us from the National Assembly. He made some very passionate plea yesterday about the whole issue. So if you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live, and we are taking the newspaper review. I think Umaru is waiting on the line.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Umaru.
Yeah.
How are you today?
God is kind.
Great. Quickly, let us just go into the National Assembly and journalists.
Okay.
It looks like some of the things you mentioned yesterday are happening already.
Yes.
So could you just tell us what happened overnight?
Okay, what happened yesterday, we were told there were a series of meetings held by the CNA, the clerk to the National Assembly, that is Alhaji Mohammed Omolori, held meetings with the staff, and they have agreed to cool down with the matter, and they are going to set up various committees, and the committee will comprise both the Senate leadership and the House of Reps leadership, and they will also have a committee, and the chairman and the director information, Emmanuel Agada Rollins, will also be a member of that committee with a staff of the National Assembly.
Okay.
Yesterday, the Senate President came up with a statement through his special assistant, New Media, Olu Onemola, dismissing the issue and also disowning the Agada, that they were not part of it, they were not aware. The presiding officers were not aware, that is the Senate President, Deputy, the House of Reps Speaker, and the Deputy. They were not aware, and that they are going to probe into the matter and find out what happened. So, but from the look of things, it's like they have suspended on the draconian laws that they brought up on Monday.
Okay, the Senate President Saraki has also reacted, to that issue.
Yes.
And he said the matter will be probed. If the Senate President is saying the matter will be probed and there is a committee, it looks like there is still a divide somewhere.
Yes, with the way the outreach of the public yesterday with regard to that issue that came up on Monday. So it was even the SNA that had to call for an emergency meeting. So that is on his own part as the accounting officer of the National Assembly. But the chairman of the National Assembly is the Senate President. So on his own, he will also play a role in the matter. So while the SNA is looking at the matter, because he was not, though he's claiming responsibility, and he's also saying that he was not part, according to sources, not that he has come up openly to speak to the public. He has not spoken with the journalists. He has not made a statement, not issued a statement since yesterday. But from sources, we gather that there were meetings between the management and staff of the National Assembly with regard to the matter on how to nip it in the bud.
Okay, so where do we go from here, Umaru? The May 29 is in view, June 12 is in view. So as it stands, where are we?
Where we are now is that they will still go with the old way of registration from the way things are going. So these new laws, with new guidelines, will not skate through. That is the way we are looking at it.
Okay, so everybody is back to the National Assembly now, and the last has still not been heard on this matter, yeah?
No, the last has not been heard because we are still there. The guidelines that they issued on Monday were supposed to be for the 9th National Assembly.
Yeah.
So because the 8th National Assembly has not elapsed.
Okay.
So those guidelines were supposed to be for the 9th National Assembly.
What?
But from the look of things now, it's like it may not hold waters.
Okay, Umar, I think that's all we'll be able to take this morning on this issue. But of course, talking about the transition from the 8th Assembly to the 9th, it looks like there will be more updates you'd give us, maybe tomorrow, on the preparation for the next, Senate and what is happening in the House. We know there are different parties looking for different, representing different interests. I think we'll take that tomorrow, and you will still be very useful for us here tomorrow.
Yeah, by His grace, I will keep all of you posted.
Great, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, enjoy a very great day at the National Assembly.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Umaru, our correspondent, giving us an update into what happened. So it looks like tension has been doused, because one of the biggest fears yesterday was that there might not be any coverage of the June 12th. We have something new this year. Historically, there will be the May 29. There will be what they said is going to be an handing over. Then there will be the Democratic Day, which is going to be June 12th. But that threat, that guideline would have hampered the proper coverage of the June 12 proceedings. But right now, it looks like everything is back to square one.
Well, yes, I think that the timing was ill-advised. And in addition, the fact that they didn't have wide-ranging consultations with all the stakeholders also scuttled what they were trying to achieve. But by and large, I don't really see very much wrong with what they're trying to do. The reason is this: there's so much fake news going on out there.
Yeah.
And because of the advent of technology and how it empowers the citizen journalist, everybody's a reporter today. And that is helping this proliferation of inaccurate news, fake news, propaganda, speculation. A bunch of times you don't really know what is even true and what is being disseminated on the airwaves anymore. So I think the industry does need to be sanitized. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with saying that anybody who's going to come and cover the National Assembly must verifiably be a member of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, because that is regulation. What it is doing is weeding out the charlatans and making sure that those who are within the corridors of power are people who are properly trained, who are professionals, who are properly accredited, and who can be counted on and relied upon to go out there and disseminate information properly.
Let me run some of the guidelines according to what was stated yesterday.
Yes.
That anybody any traditional media house that would cover the National Assembly
Yes.
must have sold a strength of about 40,000 copies daily,
Yes.
with proof of circulation.
Yes, well, that came out of the fact that they didn't consult with the stakeholders. If they had sat down with the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, they would know that there is no title in Nigeria today that produces and distributes 40,000 copies, except maybe Complete Sports and Alaroye.
Mhm.
They are the only two who come close. But in terms of mainstream media, nobody in Nigeria today distributes 40,000 copies per day. So that was part of the short-sightedness in crafting such guidelines without consulting widely with the parties who are involved.
They also mentioned that there should be a tax receipt. You have to show your tax record for the past 2 years.
I absolutely agree with that, because you have to have a formal corporate structure. These are the things that let us know that you are a bona fide media house. We don't want just fly-by-night operators coming in and putting on the toga of authenticity when in actual fact they're empty barrels. Because when people like that sneak into the superstructure, then the information dissemination process gets discombobulated.
I'll take this last one before I ask my next question. That if you have to be a journalist at National Assembly, you must have practiced for 2 years.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, with all this you've said, it looks like the National Assembly, the only thing they did wrong was not to have consulted properly on, taking this step.
By and large.
So what is the Nigerian media scared of?
Well, I wouldn't say what is the Nigerian media scared of. I don't think we're scared of anything. I think what the Nigerian media is, why there was such great opposition yesterday was the fact that the rules came across. First of all, they were rushed, they were ill thought out, they were not properly structured, and it would have been a bit complicated for individually, both corporate media houses, freelancers, to meet all of those requirements in a very short space of time.
Okay, let's just run through some of the headlines we have on other newspapers. Then we'll go back to the former president Olusegun Obasanjo's discussion. We have a lot of comments and reactions. We are going to take them. You are going to react to some of those comments. So please, if you're just joining us, we are doing today in the news, and yes, we are talking about the comment made by the former president Olusegun Obasanjo on the Fulanization agenda. Please bring your comments on, and let's have an intellectual discussion on this issue. Please keep it simple and clean. If you are saying something that is not too decent, we will not be able to take your comments. On Guardian today, he said, "Don't speak for Boko Haram headsmen." For Boko Haram headsmen, Afenifere tells FG. That is Afenifere reacting to backing Obasanjo.
Yes.
On this issue.
Exactly.
Is the federal government speaking for Boko Haram?
No, I don't think we can say that.
Okay, so that is
even if their positions are lying, they're not speaking for them. No, because clearly Boko Haram is a terrorist organization, and the federal government has spoken out against them. The federal government has never supported Boko Haram, has never supported what Boko Haram does. It's unfortunate that their positions seem to align in terms of what Chief Obasanjo said, that the federal government is saying, well, don't issue these divisive statements, which indirectly seems to align with what essentially Boko Haram is all about.
There are some people are hoping that the X-Men, well, anyway, X-Men is a business, in Nigeria. But because of how far and how dangerous they've become, they were listed as one of the most dangerous sects
Terrorist
organization. But they are yet to be proscribed in Nigeria, and I think that is making people worry.
Well, yes, the government's inaction. Or less than salutary action in terms of the herdsmen, it makes it look like they are playing ostrich with its head in the sand when it comes to the herdsmen crisis. And that's not good enough. As a government, you need to take a bold and strong stand. Of course, by virtue of the fact that the herdsmen northern government is led by northern interests, it makes it look like there's a conspiracy.
Okay, and the Guardian is also National Assembly bows to pressure, drops media restrictions. Like, I think that is still the news. On the Punch, we have 5 states lock arms with FG over health care funds, and we have pictures of the floods and the remains of Lagos Badagry Expressway from there. So 5 states lock arms with FG over healthcare fund. Benue, Sokoto, Cross River, Rivers say FG politicizing disbursements. I think when you read that, you are going to get the full news of what you're talking about.
Yes.
And Ogun residents protest as FG marks 300 houses for demolition. Demolition exercise in Nigeria is something that would really not stop. And on this day, we have Treasury bills bond, CBN to limit banks' investments, retains MPR at 13%, CRR at 22.5%. That is on this day. Then finally we have The Nation. The Nation major headline is federal government attacks Obasanjo over divisive comments. Still the same talking point as we have. And they have the news here on the houseboy to die by hanging for killing Bobs. The story of that Cameroonian, is it Cameroonian or Togolese? That killed his boss and everything. The judgment has been, jury is out on him and he's dead by hanging.
Yes.
Okay, that's all we are going to take on, on other newspapers. So we go to the major discussion points, which is talking about the comment by the ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo, and we have some comments here that we are going to take from some of those people. And Hodge Ernest is saying OBJ is on the right track with the statement. What do you think?
Well, yes, I think that somebody needs to speak out clearly for the fact that herdsmen running riots across the country should not be condoned. And it should be said unequivocally and made clear that the government needs to take a strong stand. Whatever underlying agendas or purposes should play second fiddle to the security implication. What should be front and center is the fact that bandits, herdsmen, terrorists, kidnappers, whatever moniker you want to, whatever label you want to put on them, should not be tolerated and should not be allowed to run riot across the country.
Okay, then there's another one from Chemeka George. It says, we have a funny government in place, government without success vision. What does that even mean? Every government has an agenda.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you agree that the government is without successful vision or something? I think it's not right.
Well, I think that statement is ambiguous. But when you're talking about a vision, I believe this government articulated what it wanted to do when it was coming in to power in 2015. And I think they've achieved some and they failed in some, as every government will do. As every government will do. I think they meant well when they came in. I think they continue to try, and I think they've made inroads in some sectors and they haven't done so well in some sectors. So their second term, we hope for more. We hope for more achievement.
We have some top fans on the Vanguard Facebook page. They are always there for us saying different things. And simply, Oppo Jupesta is just saying, welcome, Vanguard, good morning. It's always interesting to see these people make comments from here because those are the people that follow us back and forth on everything we do. Thank you very much, Oppo. Then, another person here is saying that the former president, Prince Sunnyside, is saying Obasanjo is not fine. That means it's against what the former president said on that issue. It is an opinion, some would support, some would come against, but I'd like to think that it is there's a cue, from the part of what you want to believe. If the former president, he has said many things over time, and those that are against the government will naturally queue behind him, whether it's right or wrong, and I think that is what's playing out here. It's just that this is an ethnic card on the table, which is very dangerous to the unity of Nigeria. So what should not be said?
Well, I think first of all, even the venue of where he said it had some grave implications. Apparently he was somewhere in the south inaugurating a project, which was where he made the statement. And we already know that in the southeast there's some agitation against the unity or the notion of one Nigeria. So I think by him throwing down the gauntlet in the South and basically saying some people in this country have an agenda to ethnicize the country. I think it could have been a little bit more diplomatic. I won't take away from his message. Maybe I wouldn't have used the term Fulanization, which I will ask Oxford English Dictionary to think about making that a new English word. Neologism is what they call them. So yeah, I won't necessarily fault what he had to say, but I might have couched it a bit differently if I were the one who were passing that message.
Sunday Lawal says Obasanjo at his age is not supposed to talk like that. Is Obasanjo an elder statesman? Who is an elder statesman?
Without a doubt.
Who is that? Who is supposed to be an elder statesman?
Well, an elder statesman is somebody who has served and who in his latter years is now viewed as a wise counsel. Someone like an emeritus chairman that we go to for his knowledge, wisdom, experience, worldview, and who we expect to always dispense wisdom.
So,
I think President Obasanjo qualifies in every respect to be called an elder statesman.
I agree with that. He was a former head of state.
Absolutely.
He was a former president.
Absolutely.
He has been there about everything. Now, it means that only few people understand the structure of Nigeria better than Obasanjo. You said the other time that you wouldn't have coined that word in the way he put it. So, in the process of trying to make Nigeria remain united, what do you think, or how do you think the government should take some words that could be too dangerous, to our unity as a country?
Well, yes, there are some phraseology that can be construed as inciting, and you don't want to incite when there's tension. What you want to do is douse the tension, which is exactly the opposite of incitement. And so, diplomacy, you can be an elder statesman with gravitas, but at the same time be a blunt person, and you say things the way you see them. I don't think that disqualifies your elder statesman status.
Obasanjo, we have some persons that who can fairly say that are in the level of the former presidents. But maybe I don't want to mention them right now, but Obasanjo seems to talk more than others.
Well, I think that's because of the love he has for the country.
More than others?
No, not necessarily not more than others, but also because of the vantage point from which he is speaking, as someone who's been there, done that, and experienced it before.
So I can't think of anybody else right now, but I'll mention Gowon now that we are saying this.
Yes.
He's also someone that fits into that club.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't seem to talk more.
Yeah, because their personas are different. General Gowon is a quiet, introverted, seen but not heard type person. He's always been that from even in his days as the military head of state. But General Obasanjo has never pretended to be that. People have different characteristics, and we lead in different ways. Okay. So I think Chief Obasanjo's way of leadership, his way of elder statesmanship, is speaking out without fear or favor.
Okay, so we should also put something into perspective here, and it is Nigeria living as Nigerians. What should come first? Is it wherever we're from, or is it where we come from, or the nation? Which do you think should be first?
That's a very tricky question. The reason is this: there's one school of thought that says that what we call Nigeria is just a geographic expression. That it is a contraption that was structured by people who didn't understand the lay of the land in terms of the people. Yeah. They carved out the land arbitrarily based on their own individual interests there. So there's that school of thought that says we're not actually properly yoked as a people. so that this thing we call Nigeria really is not sustainable. But there's other people who say, look, even if we came together by accident, the bottom line is we are together. We've made a go of it for the last 58 odd years. So whether we like it or not, there is this thing called Nigeria today, and each and every one of us subscribes to it.
Yeah.
Except maybe for a very small set of agitators who want separation. So we all subscribe to this notion of Nigeria. So the point is, Nigeria first, my ethnicity second, my hometown third, my family fourth, me as an individual last.
Well, it looks like that
You want to
Yeah.
invert that pyramid.
Yeah, it looks like that is what we have now.
Yes. And truth be told, in an ideal setup, country should be first. But because of all of the undercurrents, there are very few people like General Obasanjo who can say, I actually put Nigeria first. Very, very few.
Very few. Okay, we've been talking about the former President Olusegun Obasanjo and what he said about colonization agenda, and of course, I've been talking to the publisher of Ilupeju and Jare Ikeja today. Okay, that's a community newspaper. He's also the president, Community Media Practitioners in Nigeria, Dayo Akintobi. Let us go to the social media. We take comments and reactions from